Hello, everyone. How are you doing? You're welcome to Market Overview slash Trade Idea. So in this call, I am going to be looking at a couple of assets for this week and, you know, trying to predict where price is going to go to so we can make some money this week. All right. So this asset on the purple list, I want to quickly talk about this ones here. So these are the ones I called out last week in the signal channel, as you can see here. Um, called out about, I think they were about five or so. So yes, the purple list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So AUD card, gold, XAU, USD, and then silver, and then US oil, and US 500. So just one currency pairs and metals, and then we have the US oil, and then one of the indices. Right, and then I said these are the asset I am looking at this week. Video analysis may be available. So I wasn't able to do it. But then I called out each of this and then I sent the markups to the channel also. So if you checked it, I'm sure you caught some trade based off this, right? So I just want to do a quick recap on each of these assets before we proceed to looking at trade ideas. So the first one is AUD CAD. As you can see, here is my AUD CAD analysis, 1 week time frame. And then this is it, right? So I was looking at price rejecting from this area. Then I wanted to see price buy up from this imbalance. And we can see that is what happened in this area here, right? Price came into the imbalance and you can see price has rejected. So scaling down to the 4 hours, um, yeah, so price actually rejected and then went all the way to the upside. So this asset is also a trade idea for this week we are going to be looking at. So I'm going to talk more on this later. So let me just add this to that. And then for gold, I can remember calling out gold. And then I said, this is the 4-hour time frame bearish, right? Because I wanted price coming into this imbalance before taking out the liquidity. So that was the condition to take that sell. So on the 4 hours, as you can see, I was looking at this area for a sell down, right? And then I wanted price to come into this imbalance before taking out the liquidity, but that didn't happen, right? Market opened and then price just went straight for the liquidity and then price rejected. So the trade idea was not valid anymore. And then for silver, as you can see, silver. Okay, yeah, before silver, I also called out gold on the weekly time frame. So I had two buyers for gold, one on the 4 hours and then another one on the 1 week time frame. On the weekly time frame here, I was looking at price, taking out this 4-hour liquidity, come into the weekly imbalance, and then give us some kind of accumulation to go up. Because I'm still aiming for price taking out this weekly liquidity and overall maybe see gold get to 2100, right? So that is it. So on the weekly, this was what I had. And if we go to the weekly time frame, you can see price came into the imbalance just by a very little amount of drop and then price rejected. So now on the daily and on the 4 hours, we have this here. So this is also a trade idea I'm going to be talking about later. So I'm just going to change this to that. And then for silver on the weekly time frame, I wanted price to come into this area here, this imbalance, and then price should reject all the way to the upside. But I'm sure you guys have watched the video where I explained what to do when you see my charts, right? How do you find trade ideas when you see my chart markups, right? So, yes, so this was an area of potential buy, and then this is a new area of potential buy. I marked that last week. But then pricing get there and, the whole week was bullish. So maybe it's going to drop more. Maybe it's going to go up from here. If we check now from the swing low down here, from the lower low, from the higher low rather, all the way to this higher high, price has already given us a 50% retracement. Remember, this is a discount entry already. So anything 50% and below is a discount entry. So I won't be surprised if price continues to buy from here and then go all the way to the upside because of, I'm looking at price going all the way to the upside. Based on structure, this is bullish. And so I'm going to talk about this also. Let me just add this. And then for US oil, I wanted price to, let me see the markup we had on US oil. So this was for gold. And then, okay, I didn't send, okay, yeah, for US oil, like I said, I was looking out for a sell on crude oil, anticipated it going down because of one structure, two Canadian dollar futures structure also, and then CAD futures has liquidity to the downside, and US oil does also, right? And then we know the relationship between the oil and uh between the US oil and Canadian dollar, right? So yes, that's what I was looking at, and I had this 8-hour markup, and yeah, so price played out, and there we go. So on 8 hours, I was looking at price rejecting from here, price rejected, and there was a 1 hour entry I had, and I marked up, a price did not fill me in before dropping this big, so I wasn't in on this. So I'm going to talk more on this later also. So we can just put that. And then for US 500, for the US 500, on the daily time frame, I was looking at price taking out this liquidity. You see this liquidity here, all of this, exactly, this liquidity here. So I had it in mind when I was um, doing the chart review before market open. But then something happened that was quite funny. I had marked out price buying from here before it played out, and then price came down there and went all the way to the upside. I was looking at price taking out this daily liquidity. Price eventually did created another liquidity up here, and then I called out a buy. But look at what happened when market opened. As soon as the stock market opened, right, price just gapped up. So the gap up already swept the liquidity, came into the imbalance a little, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was a down day, but the spike or the gap up had already captured the liquidity. That was why I wasn't interested in this chart again. And then, as you can see, came down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, came into the imbalance. As you can see, the imbalance that price completed on Monday. Yes, so came into the imbalance and then went all the way to the upside. But then I wanted this liquidity to be captured, and that was what happened as soon as market opened. So it was a good, I would say the analysis played out, but it was just played out too early. That's what I would say. So, and then for AUD Chef, okay, I will talk about this also. And then for AUD JPY, we'll talk about this also. Yes. All right. So those are the trade I called out last week. Some of them have played out, some still playing out. So just keep an eye. All right. So for this week, I'm going to be looking at this assets. Okay, they are 11 in number, as you can see. Some you already know, some we've talked about, some of them are new. All right, so the first one on the list here is AUD NZD. So for AUD NZD, this is the daily time frame. All right, AUD NZD, this is the daily time frame. And what am I looking at on this? Okay, I remember calling out a buy opportunity. I can't remember. Yeah, I remember calling out a buy from this area. I told you guys, be on the lookout for AUD NZD, possible higher pricing because of this liquidity to the upside here. If you guys remember, in the last video I did, which was understanding trade charts and what to do to determine your entry, stop loss, and take profit. The example I gave was, or the example I used was on AUD USD. And I said these things will not be the last time it will happen. And I gave example that I've seen it happen in other pairs. And I think I mentioned AUD NZD. Right, as soon as I saw the liquidity to the downside captured, price came into the imbalance, and then this liquidity to the upside was still intact. I told you to be on the lookout for higher pricing on AUD NZD, and that was what happened, right? So price bought all the way to the upside, captured this liquidity, still came all the way to the upside now. And today now we have, another daily liquidity to the upside that is still intact. So this one has been captured. This liquidity has been captured also. The imbalance has been filled completely. So the remaining imbalance has been filled completely, and then price gave us a very massive rejection to the upside. So now what am I anticipating for AUD and ZD? Now I can see we still have some imbalances here, or we have an imbalance here. So in this area, I'm not going to be looking to sell or buy. So it's just going to be the regular. Okay. Now, what I'm anticipating for ADNZD is that I want to see bullish continuation to the upside. Now, if we take a look at the structure that was forming, aside from this bigger structure now, because we can say we had, when we had this lower low, lower high, low, and then we had this break, price started give us some bullish price action, right? Higher high, higher low, and then give us all of these highs and lows and highs and lows and highs. And then price broke the structure to the downside, right? And then give us a slow, give us this high, give us a slow, broke again, give us this high, broke again, give us a slow, lower high, lower low, right? So that can be one way to look at the structure. Or we could just be looking at the structure like, okay, break, lower low, lower high, lower low, and possibly lower high. So structure, the way we read structure can be relative. It might be the way you're going to read it is going to be different from the way I'm reading it, right? But then some certain things will still be common, even though we are reading it separately, right? So now for this AUDNZD, now what I'm anticipating is I still want to see a run on this liquidity. Therefore, I'm still bullish on AUDNZD. Yes, we do have a structure shift in this area. So price actually broke the structure here. And we could be looking at this as the down range. That's the daily down range now. And presently, this is the daily top range we have now. And I can see this very big imbalance down here. So I don't know if price is going to come down here before taking out this high, or it could just create, because I'm seeing another imbalance here now, but it is not complete yet. Remember the imbalance, we need 3 candles for an imbalance to be complete. So whatever candle prints on Monday, if it has a week, and then give us the candle body, something like this, and then creates this imbalance, yeah, then we can be on the lookout to take this one rather than taking this one. But mind you, if we're taking this one, we're going to be buying above discount, considering the daily range, right? So what I'm saying is the directional buyers, I'm still looking at price going to the upside because of what this liquidity here and this imbalance. So price is still going to get there. If you've been following me for a while, you know these things already. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take, price will get there. Okay, so for AUDNZD, I'm still bullish because of the daily liquidity to the upside. So now where should we be buying? Now I'm going to give us 2 areas. Number 1, can be on the lookout in this area. That's 1. And then the second one, if Monday candle opens and maybe it's a bullish candle or a bearish candle, creates a weak, feel the imbalance a little, and then complete it. So we need the whole of Monday's candle to then determine what to do. Okay, the first entry we can be looking at is this one presently, because this is the information we have presently now. But then if more informations from tomorrow's candle, and then the candle closes, the daily candle closes, and then we get maybe an imbalance here, you can also be on the lookout to take that play all the way to the upside. But now you are going to be, if you're doing that, you're going to be buying above discount on the daily time frame. Okay, so it can be risky, but let me scale down 2 to 4 hours and see. All right, good. So on the 4 hours, it can be different because now we have a range: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then higher high. So if we are to consider the 4-hour structure now, this will be the down range and this will be the top range. So depending on what candle creates on Monday, we can determine if we're going to take this or wait for price to give us a very deep retracement before going all the way to the upside. So let's wait to see what happens. But then if you want to be conservative and not just aggressive, you can't just wait for price to come down here and then take the buy all the way to the upside. So that's for AUD, MZD, and bullish. I want price to take out this high up here and then come fill this imbalance we have in this area. So that's for AUD, MZD. So CAD chef now. CAD chef, I remember calling out this trade idea to you that I wanted to see price come into this imbalance and then give us some kind of accumulation to go up. If you remember this trade idea, that means you've watched the video and you were a member, so you know these things. Right? So because of this daily liquidity that was here, when I actually did this analysis, we had what in terms of structure, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then I saw the break of structure. Price gave us some kind of daily liquidity year 1, daily liquidity year 2, and then the daily liquidity year 3. So there were like 3 liquidity I was aiming for. And then the first one, which was the closest and the most reasonable one, as at that time, like I said, I was looking out for price coming into the imbalance, give us some kind of accumulation, and then price should take out the liquidity to the upside. And that is what happened. Okay, that is what happened. The price came into the imbalance and then went for the daily liquidity. So very simple. Right, so now what am I anticipating for CAD Chef? I'm still bullish on CAD Chef. Right, I'm still bullish on CAD Chef. If we look at let me clear this now because this has played out already. So I'm just going to clear all of this. First liquidity captured. Now, in terms of the daily structure now, we have this as the higher high, the higher low, and then higher high presently. So CAD chart still looks bullish to me. Please, so we can take out this one and overall come for this one to the upside. So now this is the daily time frame. Let me check what the 2-day time frame is showing me. So on the 2-day time frame, we have this, and I think I like this one. So price came into this institutional cube, right? So we had price came into the institutional cube, came very, very close to it, and then rejected. So this happened to be a daily imbalance. So now what am I anticipating now? On the 2-day time frame, we can still consider this as the down range, or we will still consider this as the down range, which is the same with the daily time frame. And then I'm scaling like I went up from the daily time frame to the 2-day time frame because there's this imbalance here. I'm seeing multiple candle going in one direction. So if I scale higher, I can get the perfect imbalance I want to look out for. So yes, so this is what we have presently. I'm going to take this as the down range and then take this as the present top range we have now. So this is the present top range. And if I'm to measure from the swing high, from the swing low rather to the swing high, and then I want to be looking for buying opportunities anywhere below 50%. So I'm going to be looking at this imbalance now for price to come into this imbalance and then some possible move to the upside. Now, I feel this markups will be very easy for you guys to understand now because you've watched the video and now you know what to do, right? So it's not going to be coming to you as a surprise anymore. And then you're like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? All right. So now you've watched the video, you know what to look out for inside this point of interest, inside this parallel channel, right? So this is the green parallel channel. I'm looking for buying opportunities. So for CAD chef, my bias is bullish, but then I still want to see it drop, come into this imbalance. If we can get some kind of accumulation inside this imbalance, then most likely I'll be taking a buying opportunity to the upside, aiming for this liquidity 1 and overall this liquidity 2. So help me God. Yeah. So that's for CAD chef. And then GBP AUD. GBP AUD, amazing. Okay. I'm going to say it's amazing because we have this weekly liquidity to the upside. So yes, remember we go to the higher time frame to spot the liquidity. And why are you spotting the liquidity? Why are you going to the higher time frame to spot this liquidity? Because you want to be in alignment with what the institutions, or you want to be in alignment with the institutions, right? So you go to the higher time frame to spot the liquidity, because when smart money want to start going for the liquidity, it's going to be like, a one move trade. Like price is going to go in one direction. Yes, there's going to be some candles, there's going to be some down days, but you can't tell that the overall move is to the upside, right? So that's how you know that institutions are in this trade, like they are in this assets, or they're buying this asset, price is just moving in one direction. Yes, there can be some down days, but the overall movement is to the upside. And why? Because they want to take out the liquidity. Just like I showed you for AUD NZD, after they captured that liquidity to the downside, came into the imbalance, then I told you price was going to go for the daily highs. You could see how price was buying. That is me in alignment with the institutions. So what is the best time frame to check these things? The bigger time frame, the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, and the monthly time frame, right? So now for GBP AUD, this is the weekly time frame on GBP AUD. And as you can see, we have the weekly liquidity to the upside here. And I think I can remember uh, Tolu said I should check this markup, right? I think it was Tolu that made me see this markup. He told me to check the GBP AUD on weekly time frame, which I did, and I saw this weekly liquidity, and I scaled down to the daily time frame, which you told me to scale down to the daily time frame also, probably because of this imbalance. So yeah, I remember this trade. So yes, for last week, the trade idea was not complete. It was still information. But from what I can see now, I think we might be ready to go up, right? Considering structure, we have this high, this low, this high, this low, and then we have this high. So the most recent range now will be this daily down range and this daily top range. And we could be anticipating some higher pricing from this imbalance here. I think I marked it out. Yeah, exactly. So this was it. This was it here. This one. So GBP AUD looking at this area for potential buying opportunity to the upside. And I also dropped it in the signal channel, right? So yes, so for GBP AUD, we can be looking at price rejecting from this area now. So on Friday, price sold down into this area, just like we anticipated. I believe maybe price will touch the 618. Okay, was drawing the fee from the swing low to the swing high. The 618 is lining up just at close to the middle of the imbalance. And you can also see this is some kind of resistance in this area. And then price could, so maybe price can touch the 618 fib and then maybe reject from there. It's not compulsory, but maybe you can just do that. But then if we start to see some break of structure to the upside, then most likely price might, we might, maybe the move up might have started. So just be on the lookout for accumulation inside this imbalance here. That's for GBP AUD, right? And then daily highs, this weekly liquidity here is my final target. If price starts to go up from here, again, be on the lookout for accumulation, some kind of breaker structure to the up to the upside, play the retest, and final TP can be at this weekly liquidity. So that's for GBP AUD. All right, and then for GBP CHF, so GBP CHF, okay, I remember this trade. Right. So after price took out this liquidity to the downside and then came into this institutional cube, right? Into this institutional cube, price mitigated out of that candle and then went all the way to the upside. So I was on the lookout. I remember calling out a buy opportunity, a buy trade to you guys that price was going to take out this daily liquidity and also take out this daily. I think the markup was on the 2-day time frame. Yeah, definitely. I remember I was looking at this imbalance, right? I wanted price to reject from this imbalance and then go up to take out this liquidity here and then take out this liquidity to the upside also. And why I was positive on this was because aside from the liquidity, the presence of the liquidity, our structure was also in, my favor, right? It was bullish and the price went all the way to the downside again. So now that trade idea did not play out. So now what do we have on the daily time frame? So on the daily time frame now, I can see the price is coming back again to the upside. So, and then in terms of the structure within the main structure, we kind of have some breaker structure in this area, and then price has been giving us some bullish momentum ever since. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and we have a higher high present. So I'm still believing that GBP chef is going to go to the upside. That's what I'm believing. I've been calling it out for a while. So I called it out here. Price wasn't ready to go up. So I'm still believing it's going to go up. So now going to the 2-day time frame, I think somewhere inside this imbalance, we can be on the lookout for higher pricing. So in this imbalance here, maybe a buying opportunity can be presented, right? And then the structure within the structure is bullish, but we have higher high, higher low, and then this higher high. So in terms of range now, we're gonna have this as the down range, and then this is gonna be the top range here, right? And then we have this daily liquidity, and we also have this one. So I'm believing that institutions are gonna take out this liquidity. I called it out here in the past, but my money wasn't ready to go up. So I'm believing that maybe we can see some higher pricing from here again. So be on the lookout for GBP Chef. I'm bullish. So somewhere inside this imbalance, be on the lookout for accumulation. Break of structure to the upside, play the retest. Okay, so GBP Chef, I am bullish. And then for USD CAD, so USD CAD actually, I remember calling out this trade. Then I told you I wasn't sure as to where the institutions want to take price. I remember when I was looking at the markup, I think price was creating this bullish candle or so. So I wasn't really sure as to which of the liquidity the institutions are going to take out. Is it the one to the upside or is it the one to the downside here? I was looking at this or this one down here when price was still in this area. So now more candles have printed. Another liquidity has been added. Right, you can see we have liquidity in this area. So we have this daily liquidity. It's going to pull this up. Yeah, so we have a daily liquidity here. We have this liquidity, and now we have this liquidity also. Now, in terms of the structure, I was looking at this, right? We had this low, this high, this low, and then price broke this, gave us this high, higher low. So price is still, let me see. But yes, we seem to have a new structure, right? This higher low gave us this higher high here, and now it is giving us a potential higher low also. So if we are to go by if we are to go with the daily structure, price is bullish. And let me check the 4 hours. What do we have? Okay, let me check the 8 hours time frame. All right. So now in the 8-hour time frame, we have this, and I'm also seeing this liquidity here. Sorry, imbalance rather. That is just resting below equal lows, right? You can see we have this liquidity in this area. So I'm going to say if the institutions are going to go up, that means they do not want to take out this liquidity to the downside yet, then this imbalance would be a good place to look for buying opportunity. So what we can expect is a move down. So this internal liquidity, this liquidity here, this liquidity below is going to get taken out, and then maybe some higher pricing. So maybe push down into this area. So it's only in this area you want to look forward accumulation. If you do not see the accumulation to go up, don't get in. So I'm not saying, I'm not going to advise now that you place a buy limit and then put a stop loss just here. In as much as the stop loss is quite big, 57, I wouldn't even advise that you have a limit order with this because of the liquidity to the downside that is present here also. So wait for this liquidity to get, like, let the institution run on this liquidity, this internal liquidity here. And then if you get some kind of accumulation, this is the 8-hour time frame. So maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, you get some kind of accumulation that is lower low, lower high, lower low, and there's some kind of break in this imbalance. Within the imbalance, you can bank on it, take the trade, and then your overall target after 1 to 3 can aim for this high, and then you can also aim overall for this high, and we have some small one here also. But then if they're going to come for this one, definitely they will come for this. All right. And this is only going to happen if the institutions are not looking at this liquidity to be captured anytime soon. If that is the case, then definitely I would like to see higher pricing from this imbalance. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. Also for USD CAD. Right. So that's for USD CAD. And then for AUD CAD now. So yes, AUD CAD, I called out this trade idea last week. And I told you I wanted to see price come into this weekly imbalance. And then I want to see higher pricing from there. Told you guys the markup is there. You can see it. And it happened. Then on the 15 minutes, I think it was on the 15 minutes when I saw the markup. And now this trade, I'm not in because I actually forgot to set my limits. That's what happened this trade. I think it was on, yeah, it was on the 15 minutes. So on the 15 minutes, this area here, this is the weekly imbalance. Now price came into the imbalance and look at what happened. Right, when it came into the imbalance here, this was the first bounce of the imbalance. It actually broke the structure, yeah, but I wasn't on the screen then, so I didn't mark it. So even if you had taken this trade, maybe you waited for price came into the imbalance, gave you the breaker structure. This is the signature you are always looking at. Like you want to be looking at for when I say I'm looking at price rejecting from here. You go to the lower time frame, wait for some kind of accumulation, breaker structure in the direction you want to trade. All right, and that happened in this area, broke structure, but then it's still sold down. So yes, maybe you were trying to play this imbalance. Now you would have taken, or not would, you will have taken a loss on this trade because your stop loss is going to be down here most likely, and price hits your stop loss unless maybe you put your stop loss way down here and something, but then most likely you would have been stopped out on this. And then what happened? Price came, or price was coming to the downside the more, right? Price was coming to the downside the more, and then we have what? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we had what? Lower low, right? You could look at this lower high, lower low, but then I'm just going to call this lower low, and price broke the structure, right? So the first entry would have been in this area to go up, but I didn't see all of this, right? The one I saw and I marked out uh, was on the trade. Was it the um? Okay, yeah, it was this one. Perfect. To this one, right on the 15 minutes time frame. So this had already played out, and then I saw this, right, and then this trade idea was based off on a harmonic pattern. So this was a cipher harmonic pattern I had already seen before price got there, right? As you can see, it was the opening price for the day, that spiked it down to just fuel this trading. Right. And then I didn't set my limits because I forgot. But then I was seeing this, I measured from this to this, and then that is XA, B, and then extension of C above A. So that gives me like a cipher, right? And then I was looking at price rejecting from the 786 or so. I think 786 or 886. No, 786 of the entire push up. Exactly. And as you can see, I noticed the 786 was lining up with the imbalance. That was why I had my entry down there. I mean, it was so precise. As soon as market opened, it just spiked down, fill me in, 88 200 has a 20 level, and then price just went all the way to the upside. So this is the markup before June 1st, 1804, right? And then played out well. So I didn't take this. It was later I came and then saw the price that played out already. So now, what am I looking at now? So is there a fresh trade idea on this? Yeah, there is. There is, because if we check on the daily time frame or on the weekly, remember we are looking to buy. And then going to the daily now, this is what we have on the daily. All right, let me just remove all of this so you can see it clearly. All right, so we don't need this weekly opening price again. Let me delete all of this quickly. All right, so even this, we don't need this, we don't need this, and we don't need this anymore. So when I was surprised, I'd already left, and then I marked out this liquidity here when I saw price rejected, and then we had there was this major news we had on Friday, NFP. So NFP, I thought NFP was going to spike the UD card to the upside, but instead NFP came down, right? NFP came down, took out this short-term liquidity here, and then price continued to go to the upside. So they took out this one, and then they left another liquidity up here also. So you can see this equal highs up here. This is another liquidity, and this is why I am believing that AUD card is still going to go to the upside. And aside from that, we also have this liquidity here. I think there's a bigger one on the daily up here. You see this one? No, this one, the first one, the second one, and the third one. So I don't know if price is going to go that far, but then let's see what happens. All right, let's see. Remember, once you market trade, once the trade has given you your 1 to 3, the trade idea is a win for you already. So it doesn't have to go that far, because from where price is now to this is about 240 pips. So I'm just going to wait to see if it's going to happen, right? So is there a trade idea on this? Definitely. I'm still anticipating higher pricing. If this is going to be the target, if this is what the institutions are looking at, then there will be multiple opportunities to get in. I promise you that. So there is no, I'm not using may or might. There will be an opportunity to get in again. If the institutions are aiming for this high, then definitely there will be an opportunity to get in again. But for now, what am I seeing? I'm seeing this imbalance. So you see this imbalance on the 1 hour. Yeah, this is one place to look out for. All right, let me scale to the 4 hours and see. Yes, so going back to the 1 hour. Yeah, so you can keep an eye on this area for possible higher pricing to the upside. So the first buy limit already hit. This gave about a 1 to 8, so that's enough. Right, and then we can be on the lookout. Price might come into this area and reject to the upside. Okay, so be on the lookout for higher pricing inside this area. So for AUD CAD, I am bullish. Right, bullish. So that's for AUD CAD. And then for gold. Now, gold, I gave the trade I did last week also. that I'm anticipating the price should take out this liquidity to the downside, this 4-hour liquidity. And then I was looking at price coming into this imbalance first before taking out the liquidity. But then the institution just went straight for the liquidity without coming all the way up first to give me an entry. So therefore, this trade wasn't valid anymore. And we had this. So price swept the liquidity and then rallied all the way to the upside. Immediately the liquidity was captured. I just knew this imbalance area where I was looking to sell minor hold anymore. And now we have this 4-hour breaker structure now to the upside. Okay, we have a 4-hour break to the upside. I think the 4-hour break is supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to put a 4-hour breaker structure in this area. Yeah, rather. Yeah, I think it's supposed to. Yes, so 4-hour breaker structure is here. We have the breaker structure. And I was also looking at a daily breaker structure in view. So when I was marking up this chart, we do not have the daily breaker structure yet. So now let me see if we do have that. Do we have a daily breaker structure? No. So price didn't break structure on the daily, as you can see here. So price did not break structure on the daily. But then we have what? This daily liquidity to the upside here. So now the price did not break this liquidity, price did not break this structure area. I feel gold will still sell down. So yes, I originally had a 4-hour markup because I was anticipating that the daily candle is going to break. Like the daily candle printing was going to close above the previous structure. I can remember I had a markup for gold here. So this one here, exactly. So I saw the liquidity to the upside. 4-hour break was supposed to be down there. I don't know why I had it up there. This is gold 2 hours. So on the 2 hours, I was looking at price selling down before taking out this liquidity to first capture the internal liquidity, come inside this area, inside this imbalance, and then accumulate, go up from there, which is what happened, right? Price sold down, didn't take out the liquidity, and then dropped to capture the internal liquidity. And now price is here on the 2 hours time frame. So on the 2 hours time frame now, this is what I anticipated here, and that is exactly what happened here. But now, looking at how the daily candle did not break above the previous structure, this is kind of giving me a signal that this might continue to sell down for now. I mean, it's going to go up, but maybe it's not just ready yet. Okay, because going back to the daily again, or to the weekly now, can you see? So if we draw, let me see, maybe measuring from the swing high all the way to the swing low, yeah. From the swing low all the way to the swing high, rather. Price has already gotten to 50% already. And 50% below is okay for a retracement to the upside. So now we still have a very big imbalance to be filled. Price only came into the open of the imbalance and then rejected. So looking at how we did not break the daily lower high, this is candle is kind of telling me now that maybe gold is still going to sell down. Maybe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait to see what happens. There's no need to be in a rush. I'm aiming for this weekly liquidity here. Okay. And I'm also aiming for this liquidity to the upside here, this daily liquidity. So I'm just going to wait to see what happens. What kind of candle is going to print on Monday? What kind of candle is going to print on Tuesday? And then on Wednesday, if we start to get closer to this liquidity, there will be opportunity to get in on the lower time frame. So for now, I'm just going to wait to see what happens. Okay, although I have this marked out, but then I'm starting to get skeptical about it because we do not have the daily breaker structure to the upside. So yes. So for gold, let's just wait to see what happens. It is inside the point of interest already, but then the higher time frame is saying something different. So gonna wait to see what happens. So maybe even though we have some kind of accumulation in this area, I might just ignore and then wait to see if truly gold wants to go up. So that's for gold. I'm chilling. And then for silver also, going to the daily time frame, or rather, let me say the weekly time frame. I was looking at price rejecting from this what? This imbalance here. So I think it kind of makes sense if gold goes down more, silver might go down more to come into this imbalance. So I'm beginning to see some correlation between the two of them now, or as to why maybe gold should go down more. All right. But then let's wait and see what happens. So for silver, still just chilling. Right. Silver now seems to have broken structure to the upside. Right. If we check, so this, I think, yes, we do have a break. Let me confirm. So yes, silver has broken structure to the upside, but gold has not. So, and then I think silver came into this imbalance here. Very small, but played out. Okay, see? So the importance of imbalance cannot be underestimated. So came there and then rejected. So I'm gonna wait. All right, gold and silver, I'm just gonna wait to see what happens. And then for US oil, US oil on the 8 hour. So I remember I was looking for price selling down US oil. Where's the markup now? So yes, this one here, right on the 8 hour time frame, I was projecting lower pricing, and then that happened. And then going to the daily time frame now, I wanted to see price reject from this imbalance. So it is still within the imbalance, right? And then I had a 1 hour limit here, but price did not fill me in and then dropped. So let me just delete that. And then all of this area price has played already, so we can have a clean chart. Now, in terms of the daily structure, we do have this as a lower low because this is close below this area here. So this is the lower low and price is potentially going to create a lower high, which is what I believe. Right, we do have a monthly liquidity to the downside on US oil. Right, you can see we have this liquidity yet. So I'm banking on this liquidity. I want to see US oil go down because of this liquidity that is in this area. That's on the monthly time frame. And then on the daily time frame, structure is bearish, as we can see. Lower low, lower high, lower low. So I think it would make more sense if we can start to get lower price because the imbalance has been filled 100%. All the imbalance have been filled. So most likely to be really good if we can start to see lower pricing on US oil to the downside. Structure is bearish, so it should just go to the downside. So be on the lookout for this. Keep your eye on this. Have your lot set at areas where you want to get in, So, but then just wait for lower pricing, break a structure, and then get in. All right. But for now, let me see on the 1 hour. Do we have a break structure to the downside? No. So price is still heavily bullish, as we can see. All right. So maybe some kind of push to the downside now, and then we can start to look for sales on US oil. So for US oil, I'm bearish. And also, if we check um the card futures, we check the card futures. Now, Canadian dollar future also has this daily liquidity to the downside. I mean, we do have this up here also, but then we have one down here also. So if the US oil is bearish, then CAD should drop also. So if the institutions are aiming for this liquidity down here, then most likely the US oil will go down also, right? So that's it. And then for AUD Chef, So I called out this trade also. Called out this trade, and I'm excited that it played out. Yeah. So now I remember when I called out this trade, let me just hide all of this. How do I? Let's do this. So yes, so for AUD Chef, I remember calling out this trade from this imbalance. Right, I called out this imbalance because of the liquidity that was up here, right? This liquidity up here. As soon as price started to drop, I told you price should reject from this imbalance and go up. If you remember. Now, price did not reject from the imbalance, although we had some kind of consolidation in price, bearish day, bullish day, bearish day, bullish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, right? So price was consolidating inside the imbalance. But then I was still looking at this asset. And then price sold down the more. And then I was on the lookout for an imbalance. I was looking at if there was an imbalance on lower time frame where price could potentially reject from. And then I scaled down to the 4 hours. Was it the 4 hour? No, the 1 hour, I remember. So it was on the 1 hour. But then before the 1 hour, yes, let's go back to the 4 hours. I was looking at this and then I saw, okay, this is the imbalance here. Price was just consolidating and overall price dropped. So the imbalance was not expected. And the price continued to drop. And then I noticed that maybe, oh, some kind of harmonic pattern is forming already. And I do have an understanding of harmonic patterns. So I can add them as confluences to my trade at times. So I saw this and I was like, okay, this bullish bat harmonic pattern is forming. Maybe I can take the buy at the D point, right? The bullish bat means we're buying at the D at 886. And then I saw that the 886 ended here. And then I wanted to trade this in line with smart money concept. So I had to scale down to the 1 hour. And then I was like, this D point, what is in the past? Or what can do in the past is exactly at where this D point is. And then scaling and going back, I saw that there was an imbalance here. The price had not filled. And that is exactly where the D point is. So as I saw that, I had my limit set. So if when I marked it up, price was still way up in this area. And then I had my entry at the 58, 850. That's a 50 level. And that was a 20 pip stop loss for me. Price activated me, went up, came down. See, really came down. It's close to stop loss. And then created equal lows. I was kind of worried though that, oh, we have equal lows now. And the price might just take me out. But then so when I mean. Then I saw the breaker structure to the upside here, and the price continued to go up. And then as you can see, it was many days of consolidation before price started to go up. So now 1 to 3 has been met, and I'm still aiming for most likely this liquidity to the upside here. So if the institutions are going to come for this liquidity, definitely there would be an opportunity to get in. All right. I remember I had a second entry at this institutional cube, but the institution did not come there. It just took price all the way to the upside. So now on the daily time frame, what am I seeing? So on the daily time frame now, I can see this imbalance here. Okay, you see this imbalance here. I would say um, keep an eye on that area for price to go up. Yeah, because we have this low, and then we have this high, then we have this low. So we do have some kind of breaker structure on the daily to the upside. Again, internal breaker structure, and then you could be looking at this imbalance. So price should sell down most likely, although I don't pray for it, but then the market will do what it wants to do. All right, so maybe in this area we can get some higher pricing. So overall target is this daily liquidity up here, right? This daily liquidity is the target for me. All right, so that's for AUD Chef. I am bullish on AUD Chef. And then lastly, AUD JPY. So AUD JPY, I remember also telling you to be on the lookout for higher prices, that the institutions were going to come for this daily liquidity. I think the markup was AUD JPY now. So yes, exactly. So yeah, is my AUD JPY analysis. That was 22nd of May. Trade idea discussed in the video already. So I think I made a video about this, and then I was like, keep on high. So this is the markup. All right, this is the daily liquidity here, and then this is the liquidity. So I remember the trade I did now. I told you in the video that I wanted to see lower pricing, let price come down, and then we're going to take the buy from discount. That is it. That's a summary of all what I said in the video. And that was exactly what happened. So I waited for price. Price came down, took out this liquidity, and then there was an entry on the 10-hour. Yes, so there was an imbalance on the 10-hour. Yep. So I actually had it marked out because I saw it before it played out. Oh, I think it was on the 12-hour rather. Oh, in 12-hour. So yeah, definitely. You see, this is the 12-hour imbalance. Saw it before it happened. So price came into the 12-hour imbalance and then rejected. Remember, the structure was bullish. High, low, high, and then I was looking for higher pricing from this area down here. Yeah, that happened, played out well. Price is all the way up here now. So now what I'm anticipating, this first liquidity, this one here has been captured already. So this, we can just mark this as X stop. And now I'm believing that institutions are going to come for this other one here. So this liquidity here, I'm just extending it all the way here now. So I believe the JPY is still going to go up. And then I gave out a new trade idea on Friday inside this imbalance. So now the JPY, I'm going to be looking for higher pricing inside this 12-hour imbalance below here. So be on the lookout for higher pricing here. All right. So that is going to be the end of this market overview. I wish you an amazing trading week. All right.